this is Carla and welcome back to the Blue City Stampin' Studio and Happy New Year. This is our first episode of Throwback Thursday for 2024, and for this year I'm going to do something a little bit different. So Throwback Thursday will not be going away. I will continue to be doing it because, well, one, I have a lot of retired product, and some of this retired product I have used, and some of it, shamefully, I have not. So I got plenty to work with. Plus, I've had some viewers and some followers mention to me that they are appreciative that I am doing the Throwback Thursday and using retired products. So this is going to continue. The only thing that I'm going to do differently is I'm going to create 2 cards rather than 3 to kind of save some time, because during the week, right as of like right now, there's 2 videos that I'm doing, but into this year, I am looking into doing some in-person events and doing a weekly live. So I don't want to overwhelm myself with too much stuff. So that's what we're going to change up for Throwback Thursday. We're just going to do 2 cards rather than 3. So for this episode of Throwback Thursday, I will be using the Best Day stamp set. And along with that, I'm going to be using the retired Dandy Designs 12 by 12 Designer Series paper. So this paper has some really pretty bright designs on it. And so we're going to be using this for our 2 cards. So for my first card, my cardstock pieces are going to be Fresh Freesia. This measures 8.5 by 5.5, scored at 4 1/4. I have a piece of basic white. This measures 5 1/4 by 4. I have 3 pieces of that Dandy Designs Designer Series paper. Each one of these measures 3 3/4 by 1 5/8. And then I have a 4 1/2 by 3 inch piece of basic white. So I'm going to start off with folding and burnishing my card base. And I'll set that aside. I'm also going to set aside, we're going to set aside the basic white and then these 3 pieces of the DSP. We are going to adhere these together. But what I'm going to do first is I'm going to stamp my image. And of course I started off really well by not mounting it on its block, but no biggie. Okay, so I'm going to use this image of the cake, and I'm going to stamp this in basic gray. I find that, depending on the colors that I'm using, that sometimes the black will look really great with it, and then there's times you want something a little bit softer, and I find that the basic gray does that. So I'm going to take this and I'm going to stamp this in the middle. Press that down so we get the ink to transfer. Okay. And let me close this up. Okay. So let me put this aside, and I'm going to take these pieces and I'm going to adhere them to this piece of basic white. So I'm going to bring in my liquid glue, and this is the Tombow mono glue that we sell in our annual catalog. I just put it in one of these small fine tip glue bottles, and I do have a link to these in the description. These are not a Stampin' Up item. I did get them on Amazon. So I'm going to center this on my piece, like so. And then I'm going to add my bottom piece and then this center one last. So this way we can evenly space these pieces. Okay, and then I'm going to put this one down here. Okay. And then I'm going to adhere this one in the middle. What I like about using this fine tip glue bottle for this, with this glue you don't need a lot. It does have a latex in it, so a little bit, and the paper will adhere really well. I'm going to center this between those other two. Okay, and then I'm going to take this piece and I'm going to adhere it to my card base. And then we'll just center that. Okay, so I'm going to take this and put it aside. We'll close up my glue. Now for this next part, I'm going to speed it up, but let me explain what it is that I will be doing. So I will be coloring in this image, and I'll be using my Stampin' Blend alcohol marker. So I'm going to use the dark and the light balmy blue. I'm going to use the dark and the light fresh freesia, the dark and the light granny apple green, the dark and the light petal pink, and the dark and the light pool party. These are colors that are in the DSP that we're using for this card. So I'm going to color this in, and then once I have it colored in, I am going to use this die to cut it out. And this die comes from the Deckled Rectangles, and this is in our current annual catalog. So I will be right back. Okay, so let me bring in our pieces. So there's our card base and the piece that I just colored. And I'm going to bring in my dimensionals, and I'm going to add some on the back of this piece. I'll add a couple in the middle so we don't have a saggy middle. Okay, and I'm going to center this on my card. So, And then I'm going to bring in my Winka Stella. There it is. And I'm going to add some all over this whole cake. So these letters for happy, the ribbon that says birthday, and the whole cake and the cake plate. So while I'm doing this, so as I mentioned at the beginning of the video, I am changing things up a little bit. There's a lot more I'd like to do, so I want to start doing some in-person events, at least like 2 of them. So one of them, I want to do a Christmas card club. So those people that are local to me that want to make their own Christmas cards throughout the year, that's what the whole purpose of that is. I also want to do an in-person class, at least one each month. I would like to do weekly lives and at some point also offer online classes as well. I want to, what else do I want to do? So yeah, I think that's it. I don't know, there's probably more. But when it comes to doing the videos, they are a lot of work. You know, coming up with the ideas and then getting it kind of like the sample made, getting it all together, prepping everything before I can even do the video. And then doing the video, you know, there's all the time for doing the editing. And so, you know, especially during the month of December, I mean, it was a lot. And because I was doing all these videos, I just kind of felt like I was pulled away and really didn't get as much accomplished or really enjoyed the holiday like I would have wanted to. So I was actually starting to feel a little bit burned out. So the holiday videos that I do, I'm still going to do those because those are just on those holidays and I'm going to do that. The Christmas card inspiration, still going to do that. Those are the 2 cards each at the beginning of each month. I'm still going to do the paper pumpkin, you know, doing one project out of the kit when it comes in. And the Step It Up Saturdays, those, I'm going to continue them at the moment. But when I start to do my lives, I'm going to do away with the Step It Up Saturday because both are using current products. So I'm just going to do it the lives and then I will do away with that. I have not decided yet exactly as to what day and time I'm going to do the lives, but that's coming. Okay, so I'm now going to embellish with my iridescent rhinestone basic jewels. These are in our annual catalog. So I'm going to add one of each size of these on the white portion of, or the white panel with the colored in cake. Okay. So there is our first card. On to our second. Okay, so for my second card, I have a piece of Calypso coral. This measures 8.5 by 5.5, scored at 4 1/4. I have a piece of fresh Freesia. This measures 5 by 3 3/4. I have another piece of that Dandy Designs DSP. This measures 4 3/4 by 3.5. I have a 3 1/4 by 3 1/4 inch piece of Petal Pink. I have a 3.5 by 3.5 piece of basic white. And then I have a 2 by 2 piece of Calypso coral and a 2 by 2 piece of basic white. So I'm going to start off with folding and burnishing my card base. Okay, set that aside for a moment. I'm going to bring in the DSP and my fresh Freesia piece, and I'm going to adhere this to that piece. And center that. Like so. I really love this pack of paper. I mean, it has such bright colors, and you can use it for so many seasons, especially the springtime. Okay, so I'm going to then take this and I'm going to add it to my card base. Getting a little distracted. Need to focus. Okay, so we're going to center this on our card base. Okay, so I'm going to set that aside, and we'll close up our glue for now. So let's see. So on this piece, on our basic white pieces, we're going to do some stamping. So I'm going to bring in the image of the cat that's in the cupcake holder, and I'm going to be using this greeting, wishing you all the wishes. So I'm going to stamp the cat in basic gray again. I'm going to center this and hold it there for a moment. Okay, and then I'm going to bring in my fresh Freesia ink. Set that aside, and I'm going to stamp my greeting. Right in the center. Okay, so that's all the stamping that we're going to do. Okay, so let's see. Okay, so now I'm at the part where I'm going to do some coloring and some die cutting. So for my cat, I'm going to be using the dark and light Calypso Coral Stampin' Blend, the dark and the light Fresh Freesia, the dark and the light Petal Pink, and the light Smoky Slate. Then to die cut all these pieces, I'm going to use the Retired Layering Circles dies. So I'm going to use this larger scalloped one, and I'm going to die cut the piece of Petal Pink. And then this larger circle one, I will die cut the cat after I color it in. And then for the Calypso Coral, I'm going to use this smaller scalloped piece. And then I'm going to die cut the greeting using this smaller circle. So I will be right back. Okay, so let me bring in my pieces. Now with that post-it tape, this is what I use to hold down my dies, the post-it removable labeling tape. What happens sometimes, even though I remove some of the stickiness from it before I use it, sometimes it'll leave like a bit of a residue on my cardstock, so I use one of these adhesive removers. Stampin' Up! Does not sell these anymore. I did get this one off of Amazon, and I do have a link to it in the description of the video. Okay, so I removed like all that stickiness. And there's a little bit on my greeting as well. Okay. And I'm going to bring in my glue. And I'm going to adhere this greeting onto that Calypso coral piece. Now there's going to be a very, very small scallop border around this. It's very, very small. I'm going to press that down. Okay. And then for this piece of the petal pink, I'm going to adhere my colored cat piece. I'm going to center that. And this will have kind of a small scallop border as well. Press that down. Okay, and then I'm going to bring in my dimensionals. And I'm going to add some to the back of my larger piece. And then 2 onto the greeting. I'll remove the backings. Actually, let me close up the glue. Remove these backings. Okay, and then I'm going to take this scallop and I'm going to put it up towards the top and in the center and try and get it straight. I'm going by the base of the cupcake wrapper. And then this one I'm going to place right in the corner. Okay, and then I'm going to bring in my Wink of Stella and I'm going to add some to this balloon. And then some to the hat. The Wink of Stella on the colored pieces, it kind of makes those colors pop and makes them a little bit more vibrant other than just being sparkly. And then the little bow tie, I'll do that as well. Okay. And then I'm going to bring in these iridescent rhinestone basic jewel embellishments again. And on this, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to use one of each size. So there's a large, medium, and a small. And I'm going to add them randomly on my card. And what's nice about these rhinestones, you can see through them. So whatever you put them on, they kind of take on the color that's right underneath them, which I think is really cool. Okay, and then we're going to do one other thing. Now, I'm going to take some white baker's twine Now, this baker's twine, we sold it this way a while back. It has since retired, but we do have the baker's twine essentials pack in our current annual catalog, and it does have white. It has either this is smoky slate or gray granite. You have your basic white, basic black, crumb cake, and berry vanilla in this pack. So I'm going to just go ahead and use my white that I have. And when this retired, I actually bought a whole bunch of them. So I do have a lot on hand. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to create a double bow. So I'm just going to take some of it, fold it in half, and I'll tie my bow. You can see where the loop is. Okay. We're not going to have like a really giant bow, we just want a little one. Like so. And then I'm going to bring in my scissors and I'm going to trim these tails a bit. We don't want it too long. Okay. And then I'm going to bring in my glue dots. I have this cute little container that I got at the dollar store. I think I got it in Dollar Tree. And they're just really cute to hold, like my dimensionals and my little glue dots, my tear and tape and such. So I'm going to take one of these glue dots, and these glue dots come from Retired Paper Pumpkin kits. I think like every kit gets them, so I don't even need to buy the roll of them because I got so many of these, they'll like last me forever. And I'm going to add my bow right there. And that is our second card. So let me move this out of the way, and I'll bring in the other card that we have done. So this was our first card. We did the cake, and basically the colors that I chose to color the cake, and actually both images, I used the colors that are in the DSP, and of course I also went with the card bases that kind of coordinate with the paper as well. So this was our first card, and this is our second one. So if you had liked these projects, please give the video a thumbs up. And if you haven't already done so, please subscribe to the channel. The button is in the bottom right hand corner there. So I thank you again for joining me. I also want to say thank you too for following me and for supporting my channel in 2023. You know, I started doing these videos near the end of September. And so thank you for the views. Thank you for the likes. Thank you for the comments. And thank you for continuing to come back and see what it is that I'm posting for the next video. So until then, you all have a blessed one. Bye bye.